Good morning, everybody. It's Ginger from In Sheep's Clothing in Torrington, Connecticut. And this morning I am doing a do-over of last night's trunk show. I was disappointed with the technical difficulties that I had at the beginning of the show, and it kind of rattled me, and I wasn't at my best throughout the show. And what I'd like to do is give you the best presentation that I can do, because that's what you deserve. So, over the course of the shutdown, Knitting Fever and Euro Yarns, they were putting together special kits for the local yarn shops so that they could ship them directly to our customers. So we would offer them to you, you would order them, and then they would ship it directly. So it was a very good thing for us and very, very helpful, and they're continuing to do it. And I just wanted to highlight the kits that they've been offering. So what they would do is they would put together a kit, something like this right here, put it together in a bag. You get the pattern, you get the yarn, and they would also give you this cute little I love yarn magnet to go as a little, put a smile on your face, and then they would ship it directly to you. So one of the kits is this semicircle shawl made in Noro's Nikishi, and it is this yarn right here. This is one of the colorways, and in true Noro fashion, it's a single ply, softly twisted. It's a 77% cotton and 23% polyamide, and very, very soft and drapey. Now the shawl, which is a very simple, it's just a 4-chart pattern. It's not written out, so if you don't like charts, then maybe it's not for you. But the charts are very, they're very easy, and it's just a matter of some couple of two different kinds of decreases and yarn overs, and then you purl back. So it's really not a difficult pattern. Now, what's special about this shawl here, let me turn it around for you, is that if you can notice here, it's very full. Actually, let me just take it off here for you. But see how full it is? So it's not your typical do your increases down the spine of the shawl or just at the edges. You have 8 increases every 2 rows. So it actually gives you an extra 2 sections on the shawl. So when you go to put it on, it really wraps around you quite nicely. And because it's cotton, maybe I'll just leave this on. And because it's cotton, I find that when I put it on before, it stays on really nice and it doesn't move around. So yeah, it looks really nice. I think I definitely will leave this on. So that is the Nikishi semicircle shawl. And this shawl is available in 12 different colors. They generally offer about 6 different colorways in the kits, but 12. You get lots of color combinations there. So you see the purple, and then there's this neutral one, and then I also have a blue one here so that you can see what the yarn looks like. Isn't that pretty, the blue and the purple? But if you go on my Facebook page, and there's an album that I put together with all the kits on there, and there's links to go back to the website, so you can take a look at all the colors that are being offered. So that is that shawl. And then this very pretty sweater that's right here. I already have Sharon is making this, one of my customers. Now this is done in alpaca reina, which means king alpaca. It's 100% alpaca. It is so soft. It is just yummy, squishy soft. And it's a very simple pattern, just rectangular, drop shoulder, roll neck, minimal shaping, and don't let the cables worry you, because they're very simple. If anybody's done cables, you know that cables are just a very basic stitch, but they're just kind of offset and just very pretty front and back. It's a good project for somebody that, I would say it's like an intermediate project. Good for somebody that wants to do a sweater, maybe he's done one sweater before, but want to up their game a little bit and add something to their knitting repertoire. I would highly recommend this sweater. Now this is, here's a couple of the colors that the yarn comes in, additional ones besides that pretty rose. Got a deeper rose, a very pretty blue, and a gray. And it's also offered in, this is called the Lydia jumper, and this is offered in 6 colors total. Okay, there we go. Now the next project is, I don't actually have the garment, the blanket for this one to show you, but I think it's so pretty. I would at least want to show you the pattern. And this is called the basket weave throw. And it's a very simple, just knit purl pattern. It doesn't have a graph. It's just written out in rows, so it's nice and easy to follow. I would definitely say beginner, intermediate for this. Now they're putting it up in 2 different versions, and one is with the Ella Rae Superwash Classic Wool, and I do have right here one of the kits, and that's the Ella Rae Classic. It's in a very pretty, just basic charcoal gray, but that's a superwash. And then they also offer, and it takes 10 balls of the yarn to make it, and it's done on a size 7 needle and knit in 1 piece, so there's no sewing for this one, but it's also offered in the Alpacarina in this yarn right here. So if you want a little bit of luxury in a blanket, that's the way to go. This blanket is offered in 6 colorways, I believe. Yes, 6 in both yarns, so you have some options there. So that's the basket weave throw. Now the next one that I have is a really fun scarf, and it's super generous sized. This is done in the KFI's Indulgence Merino. It's a superwash hand paint merino. Now they put the kit up in 4, it's 4 skeins, but 4 different colors. And this is what I call berries. They offer in 2 colorways. What I call berries, aren't those pretty? They're such rich, rich, rich colors. And it's, again, very soft and squishy. And then the other colorway, which I believe these all are the brights. So there you go. And I think I have, there's another one. I'm missing 1 skein, but there's your more brighter colors. Okay, if you can see that. Now this scarf is knit in a round. I love this whole idea. It's knit in a round, but it's knit like a tube. There you go. So you have a tube. And all you do, it's a very simple spiral stitch. So you're just knitting, I believe this particular pattern, every row. You just go round and round and round, repeating the same stitch all the way around. Very, very soft. It's super generous in size. I mean, it is really long. So if you put this on, you can wrap this around, and with the double thickness of it, it's going to be super warm. It's still long. You could probably, I'm always looking at things of how else can I change it? What else can I do with this? You could make, if you wanted to, 2 shorter cowls with this. So you still have plenty left here to make 2. Then the other thing that I noticed with this, which I didn't realize when I was looking at the pattern, because they just show you one of the projects, but there's actually, besides the scarf, there's actually a cowl and a pair of mitts. Now, if you play your cards right, you should be able to at least get a pair of mitts out of this as well. If you don't want to make it as long a scarf, I'm sure you could do that. Now, what they do, if you're looking at the colorways, the way that they're going here, they take, instead of doing 1 full skein, what they do is they break it up. They use half a skein of one color, half of another. So then what you do is you have 4 color changes. I'm sorry, you have 8 color changes as opposed to 4. Of course, if you want to do 4, I suppose you could. That's another option. You could do that as well. But that's how they do that. And this is done on a size 7 needle. And like I said, it was done in the round. And super easy. The mitts are very easy too. So you have options if you want to get this kit. And you can't go wrong with any of the colors because the brights are pretty and the berries are very, very, very pretty as well. Of course, my favorite. So that is the Indulgence scarf. Now, if this looks familiar to you, then you were probably watching a couple weeks ago. I had a trunk show for Noro yarns for their summer issue, and this was featured in there. Now, this was also one of the kits that they're featuring. Now, this is done in Silk Garden Light, and the interesting thing about when they made this one is instead of just randomly knitting and the colors come as they come, they literally take the colors apart. So that's how you manage to get those great big, well, not big, but the wider stripes than you normally would get when you're working with, say, Silk Garden Light. And it's knit in an interesting way too. You can see that the bottom is knit sideways, the top is knit sideways. It's done in 3 sections. And then you have your center garter piece there. So it's very simply made, but I think it's a very, very flattering style. I think a lot of people could wear this and it will look very nice on them. So this is called the two-way top. And it comes in a nice variety of sizes. You have your small to your large, and that goes 38 to 46 inches. And oh, I also want to mention that the Silk Garden Light, let me find a skein of it for you. Noro has really upped their game when it comes to their yarn. The colors, of course, are gorgeous as always, but they've really added, I mean, the yarn really feels wonderful now. I never realized that Silk Garden Light is actually 45% silk. I didn't realize it was that high content. It's 45% silk and 45% mohair, and then 10% wool. So it feels really, really beautiful, and it has gorgeous drape. So that's what makes that top very special as well. And that top also, I believe, comes in 6 different colorways as well. So options. Now there's this blanket here. It's called the Woven Stitch Blanket. And the woven stitch, it's basically a slip stitch. So it's a very simple stitch. And then what they're doing with this is you take 2 different yarns. They're doing you get 5 skeins of Noro Tayo and 5 of the Cozy Soft Chunky, which is a wool acrylic blend. And I believe it's a super wash. And it's done on a 10.5 needle. And like I said, very simple slip stitch. There is this really pretty little detail though that they put on both ends of the blanket, which I think is very, very pretty. Just a nice little detail that they added. It's a nice weight too. It's very comfortable. And the Tayo is a wool and cotton blend as well. Can't seem to find my skein of yarn to look at the ball band. So that's that blanket. And then this is what the kit looks like when you get it. So there's your Tayo. You get 5 skeins of that, and then your color. And this one here, I think this is the one that they give you, can't find it here. Oh, okay, 6 different colorways for this as well. So you get to choose your favorite color combo for your home decor. Okay, I know it's getting a little warm, but this is a great project that you can make and tuck away for fall, winter season. And that is, I don't actually have this particular garment, but this is one of the kits, and it's with Indulgence brushed merino. So it's fluffy. And this is a cocoon. And there's the back of it. And it's very simply made. It's a simple cable. It's done on a size 11 needle. And 2 pieces, put it together, and then you just sew the sides. And that's it. Very, very, just a nice cozy piece that you can just throw on. And the yarn is very cozy. It is this mohair right here. And the colors are great. There's some really beautiful, beautiful jewel tones, as well as some gray and more neutral, but they're all multicolored. So that's one of the colorways. And then there's this beautiful blue. This has been popular. Isn't that gorgeous? But again, just lightweight but fluffy, and it'd be very, very cozy in the warmer weather. But it's never too soon to get started on something like that. Okay, so there's that one. And then we have another blanket. There were actually quite a few blankets in this series here. And this is called a square in a square blanket. And this is it. It's a beauty. There you go. It's 2 different colors. It's actually these 2 different colors here. Although they're kitted up, I believe, another 6 different square and square. Yes, 6. So you have 6 different colorways to choose from, but this is the one that's shown here. And basically what you're doing, it's 30 squares, and you do your center garter square, and then you pick up and you work around it, make your 30 squares, and just sew them together. So very simple but interesting to knit. So, and it's a nice weight. It's a nice size too. Don't know if it tells you what the size of this is. Let me see. And they're saying that it's for an intermediate, but you know, I would even say beginner, adventurous beginner. They're saying a 40 by 48. So it's a nice size. Okay. And okay, I guess I saved the last 2 that are my absolute favorites for the end. So now we have the Hyacinth Stitch Shawl. And first of all, I love the colors that it's shown in. They offer in 6 different colorways, but look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's such a pretty stitch. And what I really, really love, look at the edging. They do a really, really pretty, you can almost see the edging even better from the wrong side. Very, very pretty little picot that they do all around the edging of it. It's just so delicate. It just really finishes it off very nicely. Now this also is made in Silk Garden Light. And I was before extolling the virtues of Silk Garden Light with the 45% silk in it. Colors are just beautiful in this yarn, and it feels fabulous. Now the stitch on this, they don't actually tell you the difficulty level on this. I don't think it's difficult. It's just you take it's a row by row pattern, so no graphs for this. It does require, you have like 3, the stitch requires like 3 different combinations of things to do to make the stitch. So as long as you just follow each of those rows, you've got it. It's not a really fast stitch to make, but it's so worthwhile, so worth the time that it takes to make it. You are going to be doing small bobbles, if you take a look here, that's what gives it the, you can see how these little pieces here are bobbles. And then you make your bobbles, which knit in the front, knit in the back, knit in the front, knit in the back. So you have to do that across. But then you're also purling 5 stitches together. So you're getting rid of a whole bunch of stitches at once. But the making the bobble takes a little bit of time. What you do want to keep in mind for this, let me see, the size needle that they're using is an 8. I suggest, if you haven't tried a Likey needle, this is a great project to try one out, because you want a needle that has a really nice tip on it, a nice sharp point. They're not, you know, super sharp, but to me they're sharp enough. I wouldn't want them any sharper. I don't like needles that when I go to knit that I actually feel like it's just about ready to puncture my fingers. But they're nice and smooth. They have nice joins on them, and this is the way to go if you need to purl 5 stitches together. So I recommend those. But again, such a pretty project. Wonderful for yourself or a gift. I mean, who wouldn't want this as a gift? So again, just a nice little piece to wear. I'll just put that on the mannequin like that. There you go. Okay, colors are so pretty. Can you tell I like those colors? Okay, so Hyacinth Stitch Shawl. Okay, so I'm coming down to my last kit. And actually, there are 3 more kits that just came out this past week. And I will be getting those garments in this week. So I plan on doing a little video of that to introduce you to those kits as well. So something to look forward to, hopefully. Okay, so my really favorite all-time blanket. Super fun to make. Everybody has probably seen this at one time and said, oh, I really want to make that one. Here we go. And here's your chance. Okay. It's the heart blanket. Now, it's not a hard one to make. Actually, they actually say that it's an easy pattern, and it really is. The way that it's made, let me show you mine. Now, I made a baby version of it. This is mine. Whoops, upside down. This is mine. It's done in the colors, the original colors that they're showing in the pattern, and it's 3 different colors. It's the Sharon right here. So of course you have your heart color, and then they have 2 different colors that they use for the background. Now they could have gone with 1, but the fact that they're kind of similar, they're very similar, but the fact that they gave you 2 different multis for the background on this, or it was designed with 2 different colors in mind, it gives you some more depth to the background of this blanket. So that was very smart. Now what they're doing with this, they're offering, I believe it's again 6 different colorways for this kit as well. Now the way that this is made is you make however many squares. I know there's 19 skeins of yarn, and it's 51 by 56, so it's a very generous size. And what you're doing is you're not doing Fair Isle, you're doing Intarsia for this, and that's basically like what I call picture knitting, because what you do is you do not carry the yarn across the back of your work. Your back almost looks as nice as the front. So what you do is, like with each block, you are working with 3 either butterflies or 3 balls or 3 bobbins of color across that heart, and that's not bad to work with. And you get into a rhythm, and it gets really easy to do, and you don't get all messed up with it. Back in the 80s, I got kind of burned out on in Tarsha because there were so many sweaters like that, and some of them just required so many different colors, and I never want to do that again. So I had to really think of a little bit, like, do I really want to, I love it, but do I really want to do that? And it was so easy, and it was fun to do. So I really encourage you that if you love this, give it a try. Now what I did, like I said, they did it in squares, and I was trying to avoid some sewing, so what I did was I did it in strips. And that was fine, except I did realize that when I was done, when you have all the blocks, you can lay them out and you can arrange the hearts exactly where you want them placed. If you do strips, I mean, I was trying to be thoughtful in how I was knitting the hearts in the strip, but it's kind of hard to plan what it's going to be next to. So you can arrange your strips only so much. But still, that was fine. I probably, if I were going to do it again, I might do it again that way. Only because I just, if I can avoid the extra sewing, I will. But the idea of being able to place them exactly where you want is kind of a nice idea. So anyway, the heart blanket, this is your chance to give it a try, and take a look at the different color combinations that they're offering, because maybe you'll see something else that you would prefer to the tried and true original one. So that's the heart blanket, and I have shown you everything that I have to show you as far as the yarn and the kits. But I do want to tell you that I do have giveaways, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the comments from last night's show, and I'm going to do a random drawing from those names, and I am going to offer, I'm not offering, you're going to get a kit, a free, not this one, the semicircle, I already lost where I put it, the semicircle shawl. Somebody will win a free kit of that shawl, and I'm going to be offering some skeins of yarn, and then also I'll be sending out, I have a bunch of samples that I did up of these yarns that are not the same samples from the last trunk show, so I'm going to make up some envelopes of those, and I'm going to throw in one of these little magnets to go with it, and so I'll be sending out a bunch of free of those to some people too, and I think that should take care of it as far as giveaways. So I hope that you're lucky, and I hope that you're a winner, and well, you're all winners. I really appreciate that you took the time out to hopefully watch this this second episode. So have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks.